Welcome to this video about identity verification client in FastPass. This video will show you how to configure the system and test it. It will also show some of the functionalities. Prior to this video, you need to have a full installation of FastPass in order for you to configure everything. So that's pretty much it. It will just showcase some of the basic setup, basically the basic setup and functionality. First off, we'll go into the identity verification client, into proofing settings, where you won't have any default profiles. If you open basic settings and press the restore default settings, then FastPass will load the default profile that we've created for it. There's other settings there that you can change. This is the default profile. Now we'll add the different groups to FastPass as we need them to work. We have the supervisor group. The supervisor group can override an identity proofing at any time, whereas the ordinary user here, the FP supervisor users, cannot override it. And finally, the end users that we are handling, that is the last group here. So this is a group relationship. So this group, the group of users and end users, correspond to each other in this particular profile. You can have multiple profiles. This is just a simple example. So this is the default one. Next up, we will need to tell FastPass what network we have, and for this test here, we'll just state our whole network as a trusted network. But normally you would set up your network as the your local network as the trusted network, so we know who is connecting from the inside of the company. We'll create an authentication profile also for accessing the identity verification client. Of course, that's the supervisor group we saw earlier. So we'll just create that, and we'll select that the supervisors just can access the system using their password. And keep in mind that you can actually set up to use IS authentication, so the users are the service desk users are authenticated automatically. So use a Chrome-based browser. Edge will do fine in the Chrome-based Edge. So that's just one thing to remember. So this is the client, and it will ask you for your username, and of course you'll need to be a member of the group for accessing this. First up is the overview screen after you've authenticated, and that will present any prior calls. As this is new, there's no other calls, so we'll create a call and state that we have a user with some kind of domain issue, like that. Put in the username, and FastPass will now look up this user in Active Directory and present the information that we know about it. First will be the actual highlight. That's what we see here, and there we can see the user has not connected to any known device, so that's the warning. That's by default what we have. Of course, you can change all of these settings. Now, this is the actual proofing part. So it has minus 25% because he's not connected. We don't know where he's connecting from. So we'll just try some of the other stuff. You can see the questions here, and you'll put those questions forward to the end user. And as we go along here, we'll try to verify the email address. And we'll just, in this example, circumvent to see if everything works. And in this example, we'll just unlock the domain account. And that's the basic functionality. So that would be kind of that call. So now the user will be unlocked, and you press continue. and then the user is done. We have another example we would like to run, and that this is the call that's finished. So this is from a PC where the user now activates the self-service password reset icon here. Now, as this user has been logged in here before, we now know, the IVC knows that this user has been connected here before. So this is on a trusted network and from a client that this user used to use. So he selects that he wants to reset the password using the help desk. So identity verification by help desk, that's the authentication part. He has the option to write something here. You can also get rid of these fields. So now this is a PIN code that the end user needs to hold on to. So should he lose the connection, he would need this PIN code to get onto the session again. On the help desk side, we'll now try to look up the user. So the user calling in now wants to be authenticated. And in FastPass, we can see that, so when we look up the user, he's green and we can see he's connected to a related computer. Now this will of course not give him any warning, because now we know where he's connecting from. We know that he's connecting from a PC he normally connects from. So this gives him 40% in this example. And you can go through some of the other proofing parts here to get additional points. We'll just circumvent it here. So what then happens is that after confirming the identity here, the end user will actually be able to move forward and enter his new password. A very simple and secure process for both the service desk and the end user. That's done. The self-service, the service desk user is done with it. And on the client part, you can see the end user now has the ability to continue and actually issue his own password. All these different rules and all the setups you've seen here can be changed. From the points to all the questions, you can set up new questions in a very comprehensive engine that can take in very different rules. So give it a try. That's it. The user can log in again. We're done. This was just a short video about setting up identity verification client and performing the basic operations there. Thank you for listening.